So, hello everyone here. Today I make a video how to make the correct bond rings for Fire Emblem Engage. The thing is that this isn't actually random. So you can actually control what S ring you're gonna get, which is very important. So first of all, there is a brief, what is this bond rings, right? So you have of course your emblem rings, for example the Mart ring, right? That I have here. And these are the better rings of course, when you get the actual main cat of previous game. Then you can use your emblem, right, to create different rings of previous characters, which are much weaker than the main characters. However, the S rank actually gives you a special ability. Not all of them, but some of them do, right? And this is why I think this video can be important to look at, because you can actually control, then again, what S ring you want to get, right? Instead of having all this random ABC and so on, it costs 10,000 to make an S ring, but the random thing of getting an X ring isn't actually again random. So see here, Bane for example, merits the 1 health, right? Basically an auto kill for a character with high dexterity, right? And I can actually make sure then that I get this ring as my next S ring, compared to randomizing basically before, because it isn't random. Let me show you how. That being said, of course, you need to actually have the current main character emblem ring, right? So for example, at this save here, I only have the 4 first emblems. Obviously we can't make an S ring out of character we don't have yet. But anyway, how do I get S ring? Let's show you guys here. So I'm gonna go back, and I'm playing on Maddening, right? So it's very important on Maddening to get the correct ring, because yeah, Maddening is hard, and getting the S ring with the current, you know, what do I need the most, right? Or I need a character with magic, for example, or I need a character with hit or whatever, right? Okay, to get the rest things perfect. So the way it works is it actually isn't random how it gives to you. That being said, you get my save file here, right? For me currently, I need to make 30 rings to get my next X ring. That's basically it. So if I do, so I can do, however I do it here actually, I could create, for example, 10 rings here with this emblem ring and 10 more. Bam. What's gonna happen now, so now I can do 20 rings here, right? 2001 fragments. Happen now is that whoever I make my next 10 with, that is the X ring I'm gonna get. So this is random. It's gonna, I know it's kind of funny, but no, it isn't random. You actually get the exact ring you want then. So if I want to get a Mart S ring, right, I make 10 Mart now, etc. So let's say I want, let's say Martin, right? Bam. We're gonna get a guaranteed S ring now. Look at this. Bam. See? Now I got Kade, right? Sympathetic. So now I got her passive, right? So for example, again then, if you're struggling, right, and you wanna use your bond fragment, and okay, what does this ring gives us? With the Mart rings, you can see now, right, that we get this passive. Take less fam damage. Good for a tank, right? For example. But say I don't want that S ring, right? Now I can instead go back. Obviously you have to save before you do the thing. You will have to save in the bond room so you can go and reload and so on, right? But again, it isn't random. This is how I discovered this yesterday. So I was sitting here testing just like, okay, what are you... I was trying to like randomize, you know, basically I assumed that it was random first, right? Gotcha moment random. So that's okay, what happens if I use craft different times, and what extra can I get by random and so on. And then of course I realized, oh, it isn't random. Because now if I make 20 like this instead, exact same thing again, right? I do 20 here again. Bam. And now instead, I want the Sigurd S ring, right? I just make the third 30 rings, right? Bam. I make Sigurd, and now instead we get the Adra S ring renewal, which is like 5 health per turn, right? I believe. So you look at that ring. So that's kind of it, right? It is pretty straightforward actually. You're like, oh, it isn't random. You can actually control what S ring you get. So basically, the way it works here is that no matter how I do it here, I can determine what S ring from my 4 current emblems, right? If I get more heroes, right, more previous main characters, I get more S rings, right? It's the exact same thing, right? Then of course I can determine, oh, I want this X ring from Roy or whatever, right? So it's the same system, we have more characters. That being said, of course note that it depends on where your current save is, right? So at this save here, I need to make 30 rings, right? If I try another save, maybe I need to make like 40 or 20 or whatever, right? So it depends on where you are in the game, and it depends on how many rings you made before. But basically, I think you want to take from this video here is that when you discover you get an S ring, I mean, first of all, always save, right, before you make rings, right? Then when you discover that, okay, I get an X ring here. Okay, I did like 11 rings with an S ring, right? Okay, so your save file, again, the game doesn't random seed, so your save file is make 11 rings and then you get an X ring, right? Then, like I showed here, if you know that's setup, okay, and 11 more, now then you can just make sure that you make the 11th ring right at the character you want to make it at. That's basically it, right? So, as I said, I discovered that at this current save file, I need to make 30 rings, right? If I read another save file, I need to make 20 rings, right? You can point. So you just know that, okay, who should get the specific point, right? And then you get that, and then you get that. So if you try this thing, you have to first, like, again, then discover how many rings is to your next S ring, right? So again, it isn't randomly set. And for that matter, as a side note, right, because the game isn't random seeding at all, what that means is that if you play the game, this is obviously very clear on Maddening, is that if a character dies and you respin, right, to like redo your turn or whatever, the game will give you the exact same random. Basically, the game isn't random, right? For example, if you're gonna miss with an attack, let's say you have 80% hit rate, and you attack, you miss, you rewind to try again, right? You're always gonna miss on that attack. So the game, what that's called is the game doesn't renew with random seed. So basically, when you start a fight in the game, everything is basically set, right? So what you have to do is that, for example, if you renew and go back then to not have a character die or miss or whatever, you need to first do something else, right? To create a new random seed. This is how it kind of works typically when you code this stuff. So you see the same thing here. I have created a save file here where I have a guaranteed S ring on, again, then 30, right? And I've tried other save files, and then it's like 40 or it's 10 or whatever, right? So basically, you go in here, you save, and then you try different stuff, and you can reduce or increase that the next S ring, right? But around like 30 seems to be a good number, 20 or 30 rings, and then you have to determine what hero you want, right? So again, if you want to try this thing, you have to first figure out what is your random seed currently for your S ring. And what I've seen is that the current next guaranteed X ring seems to increase every time you get one, right? So if I currently go on this save for now, it's going to be a few more, right? Like maybe 40 rings, 50 rings, so that's also one thing that's very clear, that the first rings you get, it's even more important to use this system to get, like, this is the ring I really want, right? Because that's the best ring that I currently can get, right? Because you probably won't also be able to get that many more rings this early game to play on Madden and you can't grind and so on. So it's even more important to use the system, I would say, and figure out, okay, which, like, 3... You can get like 3 for S ring pretty easily, and then it's okay, then I'm stuck there, right? So even more important to, as I use this thing to determine this ring I want, right? But again, hope you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe and so on. It's more stuff with Fire Emblem, so on, right? I'm gonna stream more later tonight, and yeah, I think it's interesting. You've seen a lot of games. I mean, I obviously worked for many years for this thing. The code isn't randomizing, right? That I think it's important. If you're interested more, read about random seeding and like determination, right, from math and so on. But I'll see you guys and have a great day.